and I'll share the screen. So the term project is here. I hope you can see that. If we just look at it, I hope that's clear enough so you can see. If I move this slowly, maybe the image will come through. But you have to make a website, not a web page, a website, which includes up to 5 pages, or sorry, 5 pages or more, I suppose. So minimum 5 pages, I think. That website, you choose the topic for the website, and that's a website done by you personally. So you have to choose the topic. Basically, the idea of the project is you'll exhibit the skills that you should have developed. Sorry, my phone. That you should have developed through the course. So you're going to have to, as it says here, make the website so that it shows up nicely on a wide screen or a narrow screen, as you would find on a mobile phone. So we got that adaptive display type thing going on. You do have to add an Arabic page. There are sort of places that will give you some code to convert from English to Arabic. Or else you could just put something in yourself. Some of you people can write. That doesn't sound good. Some of the students that are listening here can write in Arabic, I suppose, depending if you have the right keyboard. So you need to do that. So yes, you have to do an external CSS. So that means you're going to have a file, which is a .css file, which contains your CSS. So that's going to give you consistent styling across your website. And yeah, and you have a number of different tasks. Now, I need to talk to you about the assessment. I don't really have control over this. You know me that I'm normally quite willing to sort of be flexible on delivery times. On this one, we can't be, and that's because 60% of your mark is going to be for actually delivering the final completed website. So you'll see that here, delivery 6, 60% of your mark is on delivering the final completed website, but the other deliverables are very time sensitive. So yeah, well, I suppose the final one is time sensitive as well, because we end the course at that point. So then that 3rd of April is like the week before we have our final exams, and we do have a final exam in this course, which will be 30%. So you have basically a deliverable every week between now and then, it seems like. Your first delivery is due in 2 days, but luckily it's not difficult. It's not even technical. All you need to do within the next 2 days is come up with a idea. Now, you could blow off all of the milestone deliveries and still pass the project because you get 60% for doing the final submission. But that's 40% that you would throw away, right? So basically you get marks if you deliver the other things on time, right? If you miss out delivering them on time, you'll lose those marks. So in that way, we're managing the delivery times through the tasks, the milestones, one at a time. So that's our big thing that we need to talk about today to get going, is the project, and it's there. And your first delivery, I'm sorry I'm scrolling through that so quickly, but your first delivery is this Thursday, and in that you need to deliver, well, what does it say? You need to choose your topic and state what it is, basically. That you're going to have a 1 page of text and describing your project. So that's all you have to do for this weekend. But the next weekend, after that, you have to do mock-ups or wireframes, which is going to be diagrams of what your website's going to look like on a desktop computer and on a mobile phone. And then you have to write some HTML. That's a big part of it. And then the CSS, two different versions of CSS, one for the mobile and one for the desktop. The desktop is first. Then you're going to have a form. It's good that we're doing this lab today, which is on a form. And yeah, that's the project.
Sir,
Yes, I'm listening.
I wanted to ask about the topic. Can we get any topic, like on any topic, the website, or it should be from our assignment too?
Um, it does reference if you read the project, it does reference assignment two. That would be nice if you did something like that. However, um, I believe that any topic is fair game for this if you want to do that. Yes, you send one by one the project in terms of the milestones. But at the end, you have to deliver the entire project, and it's supposed to be hosted on the SIT server. So you're supposed to use your FileZilla, which you've all got installed, and install the your website in your area on FileZilla.
Sir, one more
Um,
thing. The text that we are supposed to submit on task one,
yes.
it should be the same text that we will use on the website, or can we use other text in our website
You
too?
can use other text in the website. So what you're supposed to do on the first thing is just to describe what your website is going to be about. It's just that. Okay, so I'm just marking
The
some stuff.
summary.
Yeah, I guess a summary. Yeah, to explain, just to prove that you've sort of been thinking about it and that you've got a way forward. That's what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for in it. Okay,
So
so
how many pages and
one page,
words?
one page of 12-point text. Sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to.
Okay.
It-
So in what document?
Word document would be good. Yeah, that's what I
Okay, thank you.
that's what I'd be expecting. Yes. So I'm just
Thank you.
got some more people present, and I marked them. You can probably see that. So you guys are just chatting to each other on the chat. So not going to worry about that too much. Somebody's telling me they're here. Yeah, that's good, Elmo. So Mark Elmo is present. Awesome. I got all these others too. So that's the project. I don't want to spend too much time on that because really today's lab is kind of it's not small. is So what we need to do, and that's something else there that I'm looking at. Yeah, if I got another one here. Oh, I'm gonna have to go to it myself. So I got my answer for lab 8 here, so we can look at that. And so let's do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to create this file, this HTML file. I hope you can see that now. That's what you're going to do. You're going to create this. And you have a logo that this logo you can see here. The logo is used twice. And the rest of it, you just sort of create using CSS and HTML. The instructions are in the Word document given to you, but basically it just says to make this. And so the thing that's different about this exercise than our previous one is uh, somebody's dropping. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, if you're going to drop, you got to do that today. Today's the last day to drop. Thanks for bringing that up. You can drop today without penalty, but not tomorrow. Um, so the exercise that you're going to do is going to create this web page. I'm just going to go through that. So we have a drop down um, list, which is called a select. We have a radio button list. How the radio button list works is you do one of the choices. Here we only have two choices. You have to do one. We have a checkbox list, and checkbox list you can choose none or one or few or all. So you can do that. You have a bunch of text fields where you can put things like I'm typing my name here. Uh, sorry, this is in the way. Hmm, I'll choose okay, and I've got my and this this field here, this email field, that's actually a type of field, which is an email field. And so hopefully we'll see that. And we've got a date field where you can choose a date, choose today. And then so, I mean, and then when we press the submit, what happens is we are redirected to another site. And if you see that, that's on the SIT server, and it's a PHP file. So PHP is programming that is able to work with our HTML files and also work with a SQL database. And so the idea being that we use the form to, in this case, to upload data to the SQL database. Now, to do that, you need to have a server. You could have that server installed on your computer, or in this case, the server is being provided for you by the college. So that's what the um, page that you're supposed to produce today does. And this is what it looks like. So how does it do it? Let's have a look. So let's have a look at that in Notepad, and I will try and explain from Notepad how does this work. So let's look at the HTML first. So we've divided the body. We got the body. In the body, we actually do a lot of styling in the body, all the background color, all the colors of the text, etc. That's done in the body. Well, there's not a lot, but yeah, we style the background color and we style the color of the text there. So that's done. That's not, that's easy. Now, actually, you'll notice that the background color is lemon chiffon. That's only this stuff here. That's because inside the body, we have some other elements and they have a different background color. Well, you can see that. The main has a background color of white and it's been set to a width of 900. And so that's why we have this lemon chiffon around the outside, because our window is wider than 900 pixels. When we get to less than 900 pixels, then we lose the chiffon on the side, but we still have at the bottom because yeah, I suppose because our window is bigger than that. So if we reduce, so anyway, so the body is chiffon um, and the main is white, and it has a limited size, a fixed width of 900 pixels. So the main itself, we have the main is our element which holds basically everything that's in here, but it is broken up into many sub elements right there. So we actually have a header, which includes two copies of the image plus a heading. Then we have a sidebar here, which we call aside. And then we have this thing which called section, which does it. Now, we call it aside, we called it session. You could call it something else if you want. But you know, that's how it is in the HTML that I'm going to demonstrate to you. So, oh, shoot, sorry. Let's have a look there. So we've got at the top of the document this thing called header. And so header is the picture and the head and the Starzy coffee and the other picture. So you see that we've got this class called logo, which appears twice, and it has logo 1 and logo 2. But the image for logo 1 and logo 2 is the same for both of them. And yeah, you can sort of see that there. So that's how we do the header. The header is the first thing inside the main. And so how is that styled? Where are you, Mr. Header? H1 aside, section. Why can't I see it? It's not called header. It is called header. Oh, because we haven't styled the header itself. We've styled the class logo. I'm sorry. My apology for that. So let's find logo. There it is. So we've styled logo here, set the width to 20%. That's going to be just this part here, right? And then the image takes up 90% of that width. So the width of the main is 900 pics. 20% of that main is going to be set aside for this class called logo. Logo is going to be set on either side of the heading. And so we'll see that we have logo 1 and so we're actually using IDs for that. Logo 1 and logo 2. One is floated left and one is floated right. And then we have our heading 1. The our heading 1 is this bit here where we've made it quite a big font and heavy weight, and we've taken up 60% of header is going to, or 60% of, I think it's in logo, right? Uh, yes, logo includes, does it? No, it doesn't. Uh, so logo is 20%. There's two lots of 20%, and then H1 is 60% of the element that they sit in, sorry, and the element they sit in is the header element, which basically has been is not styled, but we can, so therefore we can go out to the main and say we're going to take up those percentages of 900 pics. I hope that makes sense. So that's the header. The next thing is this thing there that here has been called the aside. So the aside is this stuff here. Order now. You can now order. And so we got 3 different lots of fonts, and they are all styled in aside. And so how are they done that? Well, we've got a H2, a type 2 heading, a header 2. Then we've got some ordinary text in a P, and that P is broken up by a BR and a span, and the span is given an ID of TOS so that it could be styled differently. So if you look at the styling of the TOS, where are you, TOS? There we go. We've used this very small font to get the view that we wanted here. This very, very small font here. That's our 8 pics. All of this together is the P, all right, and the very small stuff is the part that says 4 orders. And if and you can sort of you can check that by looking at the, so you can see that what that P is, has that you can now order blah blah blah, and then the very small stuff inside the span. So that's what that looks like. All right, so that's our
Sir,
aside. This is the
what is
HTML.
span doing?
Okay, span is just used as a way to put take a part of an element so that we can style it separately. And so the element that we are inside of here is P. And so span is taking part of P. We're actually giving it an ID called TOS, and so that we can style it separately than the rest of that element. It's no big fancy thing, right? I mean, it's just like the other sort of elements inside elements. So it's making a sort of um, a little element inside our element. That's all. So that's the side. Section in this particular version thing, you see section ends there. And so it's taking up basically everything else that's left. And in fact, section is used to hold the form in this case. And so all of this stuff, oh, sorry, from here, everything else, so everything that's left is there in section. So we see that we've got this thing called a side, and that's floated over to the left. And then we've got section, which is floated to the left beside it. Just the same as we did in the product list that you did before. Remember the product list where we had to float the images of the mobile phones up against each other? So that works the same as that. And because it works the same as that, we're going to have to clear it at the end. And so we make a fake sort of div, a div that has nothing in it, and we call it, give it a name, and then we style it. We called it clear. And so when you look at the styling, all the styling is for clear is to use the clear command. Now in previous ones, we've done a clear left. That's because all of our floating was left. But in this case, we did a float left and a float right. I don't know if you remember seeing the float right, but that was in the logo. Where's the logo on this? Up here, I think, right? So we had two different logo. We actually gave two IDs to the logo, one for the first one and one for the second one. We floated the first one left and we floated the second one right. And what that did was that here's our logo one, here's our logo two, right? So this one's floated left, this one's floated right. That gets those images up against the edge of the main, which they're inside of. And so, yeah, so, well, where are we now? So we've done the aside. The section is the main part there. That now, what we should notice is that the section contains a post, and so I don't. Sorry, a form uses the method post. Now, in this form, it has an action command, and that action command references a PHP file. Now, a PHP file is a programming file. PHP is a programming language. It's a programming language that is used with HTML on PHP servers. PHP servers will handle SQL and HTML. So from within an HTML file, you can manipulate SQL databases. And so that's what this is doing. This is going to manipulate a database, just going to post to a database. Well, actually, it's just posting there. You'd have to have another command to, well, we can't see what's happening inside the PHP file unless there's a, and unless we sort of specifically print that to the screen. But quite normally, what we would do is we would take the contents of the form and put them into an SQL database, into a table or tables as records. Right. So this is a form. The action means that we run this PHP file. This PHP file exists on the SIT server, so you can't misspell this or it won't work, right? So it must be exactly that PHP file. What you saw, what happened when I pressed the sorry, wrong sort of thing there. Let's put that away. Where are we? Where's my? It's probably on this, right? Oh, this one. You saw what happened when I pressed the submit, which is labeled order now. That actually, what happened is it actually went and executed that PHP command, and we saw the result on the screen a minute ago. All right, so the form post occurs when the person clicks on the whatever is used for submit. So submit is a type of input. Forms have multiple types of inputs that we'll refer to. Submit is a type of input, and there's a at the end of our form. It doesn't have to be at the end. We could have put it at the start. We can put that anywhere we like, but we've put it at the end because maybe that seems like that's logical to us, and that's why. So that's this thing here, this class. Oh, by the way, notice that the class form input, we use that for all of the inputs, and that gives us this styling that we've done, which says that it takes up 65% of the element in which it sits. Now, the element in which it sits is the section element, and so our form input, you see, is taking up 65% of the width. The width of the section is all of this that I'm sort of circling now, and 65% of that is this stuff here. And that's probably because H3, which is this stuff here, that's taking up 30%, and it's floated to the left. So we've got these little comments here, which we've made the width 30% of the section, and we floated those to the left. And then we floated the other thing to the left beside it and made it 65%. And that's how we get this falling here and this falling in beside it. And yeah, so we use the um, we use the form input for all of these different types of input. So this exercise gives you practice of using all the different, well, maybe not all, but all of these different types of input. So let's look at those different types of input. So the first type of input is the select, and the select gives you a drop-down box. Okay, and so we use the select element and we can give it a name. Yeah. And then we have various options that go with it. All right. And so that's, you can see that here. We got our house blend. Then there's our Bolivia Supremo, organic, etc. They're all there. That's this here creates that drop down box. Now, when we do the order now, whatever is in this box will be sent to the server. Well, everything that's in the form will be sent to the server. So the next one is our radio buttons. So notice the select is an input, but the others are all, we all use the input tag and we give the type of input. So we've got various types of input. We got a radio input, we got a checkbox input, and we've got these text inputs, a bunch of them. And then we've got a text area, okay, which is another one. Again, we don't use the input word with that though. And then lastly, we've got the submit input, and the submit I've explained a little bit already. So we've got our drop-down box. That's done there. The next one is our radio buttons. Our radio buttons, and so there's two of those. And how they work, how radio buttons work, is one of them must be switched on, but only one. So if we had multiples of these, then one of them would be switched on. We got 10 minutes left, so I'll get on with it. The next one is the maybe stock standard, more common way of is well, what have we got here? We got, oh, sorry, checkbox. I didn't talk about checkbox. The next one is the checkbox. How the checkbox works is that you can have all or none or some of them. So it's kind of like a radio box, but whereas radio box, you can have one and one only. With this, you can have none or some number. The number is not sort of fixed. Now, the other thing that I should mention about this is we're using labels with these parts of the form. And for the first two different types of uh, labels here, we're putting them on the right. And that's why you see the labels after the type first and then the label. But when we get to the next lot, you'll see the labels come first. And that's because the labels are here and where these are labels, right? So whole bean ground, gift wrap, include, name, address, city. Those are all labels. These ones are on the right. And so they come after. And then and then with the next one here, what type is this? Is also text. They're coming first, right? So that's our check boxes. The next one is together, and they don't have to be together like this. We could have had one or many or a few, but just to make the form look nice, we stuck all these text boxes together and we lined them up the same. Didn't have to, but we did. Yeah, so these are all typed text. In text, no, they're not all typed text. There's only 3 of them typed text, right? So the first 3 are typed text. With text, we just type something in. But notice we've got some special types. We've got a type email and we've got a type date. So the type email is going to require that the person enters something that's got an @ in it and a bunch of dots. And the type date, well, type date comes up with this nice little sort of widget thing that's sort of built in there that you can choose a date from it. So those are those. Then we've got this other kind of input, which is text area. We don't actually use the tag input. We just have a tag text area, which is special for it. Kind of like we had a tag select. No input there, just select and options. Here we use inputs, inputs, inputs. Here we use inputs as well. So we're using inputs for radio, checkbox, and text. Text area, we don't actually use an input tag. We have a special tag for text area. Text area gives us this thing here where we can put a bunch of sort of free-form text. And then lastly, we've got our submit button. And the form must have a closing form tag. And the last thing there is our clear, which I've already sort of mentioned. So we got like 6 minutes left. I'm going to pause